Hi, everyone. I'm Jeneva Rose, and I'm the #1 New York Times bestselling author of several thrillers, including The Perfect Marriage and The Perfect Divorce. And I'm so excited to be here today because I get to talk to Raphael Montes about his absolutely unhinged novel, and I mean that as the highest compliment. We're here to talk about The Secret Dinner. Raphael is one of Brazil's most successful thriller writers, as well as a screenwriter and a television creator. His work has actually reached millions of readers around the world, but American readers are now just getting to discover him. So, actually, Raphael and I met earlier this summer at Thriller Fest, and now I'm thrilled that I actually get to interrogate him about cannibalism for the next hour. So, Raphael, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Geneva, thanks for this talk. I'm sure it's going to be really fun. We started this conversation in the bar during Thriller Fest, and now we're going to continue. Thank Barnes& and Noble also for inviting us to this event. And let's talk about
Yeah,
cannibalism.
about
Why
can.
not?
Oh, actually, funny thing. So Raphael gave me this at Thriller Fest, but if you look closely, there are actually teeth marks from my son. So I thought it was very on brand that he tried to eat the book. Uh,
That's a special edition.
so for readers that are meeting you for the first time, I feel like we have to start with the obvious. You wrote a book about four broke friends who decide to solve their financial problems by serving human flesh to rich people. Where did this idea come from?
Yeah, so uh, each book I do, I like to try a different kind of story. And in this one, I wanted to do this kind of thriller where characters make bad decisions, and then the reader goes like, "Oh my God, what they are going to do next?" And you can't even imagine where this story goes until the end, right? So the first moment of idea that I had for this book was in a conversation with some friends from some childhood friends. And we were talking about how hard it is to become an adult nowadays.
Mhm.
I was 25 when I had this conversation. And then this friend said, my father, when he was 25, he already was my father. He already had a house and he already had a job. And I'm 25 now, and I don't have a job. I don't know if I'm going to pay the rent this month, and I don't have a regular job. So I mean, so how hard? Because in Brazil we had a big financial crisis.
Mhm.
Is 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 hard to survive. Let's say in the big city because everything's so expensive. So the story starts with these four childhood friends. They moved from a small town to Rio de Janeiro. They share this apartment, but then one day they are struggling to pay their rent and their bills. So one of them is a chef, and also another element that helped to tell this story is a real website that connects people that want to host a dinner in their apartments and people that want to have a VIP experience to pay for a dinner, and then you receive by mail the address and all the information. So I read a report about this website, and then I said, okay, so I'm going to create my website, the story that's secretdinner.com. And so this group of friends, they decide to create an event, dinner that they're going to host in their apartment to make some money. And as an inside joke, instead of writing that the dinner is going to cost $300, they say it's going to cost $3,000. And instead of saying that the dinner is lamb, they say that the dinner is human flesh. That's an inside joke they have. It's just a joke, not for real. But then when they look, some minutes later, 10 people paid for this dinner. So they earned a lot of money and they are broke. So, I mean, maybe we should do this dinner, or maybe we should get another meat and pretend it's human flesh. I mean, they start these discussions, and from there you go to really crazy places.
Actually, I think that's it is really relatable what you said about being young and broke. I can remember being in my early 20s and being like, can I sell like an organ to make some money or donate eggs? I was just thinking down the rabbit hole. So I think that's so relatable for a lot of people that being young, broke, and trying to build a life that you imagined for yourself. And obviously, your character's solution is less relatable, but how important was it for you to understand or you to ensure that readers understand why these seemingly ordinary people would take this first step?
So I love stories of ordinary people making extraordinary decisions and going through different journeys.
Mhm.
This book is told in first person by a narrator that's Dante, one of the friends. And what I love about writing in first person is that you're kind of in a conversation with the reader through all the book. So Dante talks with you when you are reading this story, and of course he justified his decisions. He explained why he made them. And I think when the reader is reading the book, he's asking always himself if I do this maybe if I was struggling, this was a decision that I would make. So I think that what's amazing about writing crime fiction is that we talk about violence, we talk about society, and we ask the readers, in this situation, what would you do, right? So this moral balance that the characters go through, I mean, I think the readers go through too. So I sometimes the book was published in Brazil 10 years ago and became a huge bestseller there. So and then I have readers, they say, oh, when they did this, I stopped to understand why they are doing this. There are other people that they are with the characters almost until the end of the book. I mean, they agree what they did, and I was like, really, you agree with them? So and also as a writer, you totally understand that we need to have empathy by our characters. I mean, we can judge them. We can write judging who they are and the decisions they make because, I mean, they do bad decisions. That's why we do good books because they need to do bad decisions, and that's part of the fun, right?
I completely agree. I always find it really interesting when I have very morally gray characters in my novels, how readers react. Some people be like, I love that person. I would do the same thing. And others are like, that was deplorable. I can't believe you wrote that. And I want that character to die, essentially. So it is interesting how polarizing it can be from readers' responses to our characters and what they do. But one thing that I think is interesting about your novel was, they start this as a point of survival, but then it turns to greed. And, you've seen that in shows like Breaking Bad, where they cross the line. They don't need to do this anymore. They crave doing it because of what it gives them. So was that line important to you to show where that was crossed for your readers and the characters within the novel?
Yeah, totally that. I mean, Breaking Bad was a big reference for this story. I mean, a great inspiration for me because I wanted to talk about ambition. So they start to do the secret dinners because they need money to pay the rent. But that's the thing. When they get it, they want more.
Mhm.
And especially Dante, because Dante, he comes from this small city, as I said, and his parents are kind of rich. I mean, so when he's struggling, he could call the parents and say, "Oh, can you borrow me some money?" But he prefers to not to do that and try to figure out a way to pay the bills, his bills. So for me, it was really important to have that moment where they achieve their goal. I mean, they don't need the money anymore, but well, it's doing so well, everything. And also now I'm important in a way that they were not important before. So they continue to do it. And then it spirals in a really dark scenario.
I mean, speaking of like the dark scenarios, what I do love about this premise is that it's something that starts out as so completely outrageous, but it starts to feel weirdly plausible. And I think that goes to like your writing abilities and your storytelling abilities. So when you were writing it, was there ever a moment where you thought, have I gone too far, or is too far not really concerning for you?
When I go too far, I say, yes, that's what I
Yes,
wanted to
further.
be. I'm sure you are the same. I mean, you are the same. When you have like a crazy idea, say, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
So
And actually, yeah. Continue. I
for
was.
example, yeah, no, there is there are two chapters that all readers love. One of them is the slaughterhouse chapter.
Mhm.
That's a moment of the book that is really mind blowing. I mean, everyone is crazy about this chapter, and since the beginning of the book, I knew that I was going to write that scene. But I write the book, of course, in order. So I was like, oh, I want to get there. I want to get to that scene. So it was kind of a goal for me to get to this scene. So when it was the moment to write it, it was like really fun and amazing. And I know it's strong. I mean, a lot of readers say, "Oh my God, I'll never forget this chapter." But I confess, I love it. I mean, uh, for me, my favorite books are books that they are first of all really entertaining, but
Mhm.
also they provoke me. They make me think in stuff that I never thought before. So I love this idea that to tell a good story, to write a good thriller, but also to stay in reader's mind after they end the book. So one chapter is the slaughterhouse, and the other one is the final chapter, of course, the final dinner. That's also a bit too far sometimes. Might be too far, but I don't think so. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know when, like, some of my first thrillers, and I feel like it's more accepted now than it was, say, 5, 6 years ago, because I can remember scenes being cut from The Perfect Marriage because they were too gory or too smutty. And that happened with One of Us is Dead. And then it stopped happening with my next one after that. And now it's like people are realizing, or the industry is realizing, that readers actually want that darkness. They want something that's going to shock them that they haven't read on the page before. And I actually read about you was that at one point you had an editor that was suggesting cutting a chapter because it might make
Mm-hmm.
easier to sell. So without spoiling anything, what made you so certain? And I guess you kind of said it was that it was something that you would thought would be impactful here. But do you feel like that positively affected the book or negatively affected it? I'm going to assume it's positively considering it was a big bestseller, but did you get any readers that were not happy about it that reached out to you?
Honestly, no. I mean, it was really positive. I mean, I write the book I would love to read.
Mhm.
And when we are writing, we know that oh, I'm doing a great job. I mean, I'm having fun doing this, so I'm sure readers are going to love it too. And when it's not good, we also know this, right? I mean, so I was sure that the story and the shocking moments, readers were going to love it. So when the editor suggests to cut in Brazil, my Brazilian publisher, not the American one, that's Saladin. Um, uh, he suggests to cut the chapter because it would sell more, and say, okay, of course I want to sell a lot, but I want to sell a lot with the book. I wanna with the story I want to tell, right? And what's amazing about The Secret Dinner is that, of course, if you are a thriller reader, if you are a horror reader, you're going to love this book, I'm sure. But this book, in Brazil at least, this book found many different readers. I mean, so I received tons of messages on social media like, oh, I usually read like romantic stories, but then I decided to read yours because a friend of mine told me to read it. And oh my God, I loved it. So now I know that I love thrillers. At the beginning I was kind of afraid, but then I discovered that I love thrillers. I love horror. Um, I think everyone can go through these pages. Might be a bit traumatized, but that's good. It's a good trauma.
Yeah, and actually, I do think one thing that really like is surprising is how funny the book is, despite the fact that it's like can get very grotesque. So how do you know when like humor will make a disturbing scene better versus like undercutting the horror, or do you not concern yourself where you just make sure the humor is there at all times?
So the thing is, I write really dark stories. All my other novels, they are pretty dark.
Mhm.
But in real life, my friends thought I was going to become a stand-up comedy because because I make jokes all the time. I have this acid vision about the world. So I mean, so in this book, I decided to show a bit more of my way of being, let's say, in the story. So this is the only book of all. I wrote 9 novels already. This is the only one that I decided to balance thriller with comedy, humor. I mean, it's in a way, I think it helps readers to go through the story, right? Because it's a really strong story. I mean, so humor it helps readers to like uh, doing it more smooth, the violence and the And honestly, the humor came pretty naturally. I mean, it was not something that I need to. It was not a brain exercise like to write with some dark comedy. It was pretty. It's who I am, so it was easy.
I also think like all of my, regardless of the genre I write in, whether it's thriller, horror, romance, there's always comedy in my stuff. But I also feel like humor is so natural. And even in the darkest situations, even in real life, if you're grieving, there's usually humor there, something to break that tension. So I just find it such a natural human emotion. Like, someone laughs at a funeral. It's like, that's how some.
Hmm.
So I actually found it so natural and just it just layered the story even more and made it feel even more realistic because you are dealing with a group of friends that are doing something outlandish, but it's working and they're getting ahead and it's immoral, but
And also they are friends, childhood friends. So of course they make jokes with each other. And I think when we met on Thriller Fest, I told you I'm a big fan of your work, and the reason, one of the many reasons that I'm your fan, is because I think you balance this pretty well, and also you mix genres pretty well. I mean, that's something I also love to do. So in Brazil, The Secret Dinner is considered a thriller. It's not horror at all.
yeah,
And here,
I find that so fascinating because I did see that you don't consider this a horror, but in America we would consider things like cannibalism and slaughterhouses and the gory scenes as horror. So what is the secret dinner to you?
for me, it's a thriller. I wrote this as a thriller, but I wanted to do a, a book that in the when you get to the middle of the book, the tone of the story changes. So you have almost like have part one and part two of the book, right? I mean, so the first half of the story is a thriller of these friends struggling to pay their rent. They decide to do secret dinners and they get there. And then the second part, that's the really crazy and fun part, goes a bit to horror. So there is a movie, it's a Tarantino movie. Tarantino is another big inspiration for this story, Coen Brothers. Um, so there is this Tarantino movie, Till Dusk to Dawn, I think it's
I
the
love
name.
that movie. Yep.
Yeah. So the first half is a kind of story, and then the second half it really goes to a different way that we were not expecting.
Mhm.
So that was something I wanted to do since the beginning, also.
I love that.
But
Like
for
in
me, it's a thriller. It's not horror at all.
I love that when like you think you know the genre and the story starts off as something, then it becomes something completely different. Another recent film is like, have you seen the film Barbarian? Where it starts off as
Yeah.
something else and then midway through it's all hell breaks loose. So I think that's really cool.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. I
I'm
just saw someone said Parasite. Parasite is
Parasite,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah, but Parasite came after this book, so it was not an inspiration.
Yeah. Another thing, so you said that you knew what you wanted to do in terms of like you wanted to have it be one story, but then be something else. But this is a very twisty book. So how much did you know about the actual twist before you started? Did you know where Dante and his friends were going to end up, or did they surprise you along the way, just like they surprised us?
So what I do is I love to plot. For me to create a plot is pretty easy. So when I have an idea for a novel, the idea comes like complete. So okay, it starts like that, then this happens, then this happens. I love books. All my books they have like big twists in the ending. Usually in the last page, some like the secret dinner in the last paragraph there is a twist. So I mean, I really like to think a lot about the plot. But the thing is, characters are really important. So you can't write a good story only with a good plot. You need characters. So it takes me a long time to find the right characters, who they are, their voices, how they talk. I mean, there are many dialogues between four friends.
Mhm.
And then there is Cora. We need to talk about her, my favorite character of the book. So how to create all these voices for me was also really challenging. So I start with the plot, and then I work a lot to find who are the characters, and I do like a roadmap. But then when I start to write, I allow the characters to make their own decisions and go out of the roadmap. I mean, so it's important to have like a direction, but also is important to let the characters be who they are, right?
Mhm.
So it's a kind of it's a mixture of controlling a lot, but also allowing the characters to make decisions and be themselves, and not controlling that much. So that's the balance that I do.
That's actually very similar to what I do, where I plot, but not so much that the story can't breathe and the characters can't make their own decisions. So it is fun to like I'm the same way where I kind of know my big twists, but then there are things, surprises and reveals that come along the way, which are, as you know, are really fun when you hit that and it's just like a light bulb moment. But one thing, you plot, because there is this thing in this book, obviously, this is the wealthy people in the book aren't just like metaphorically eating the poor, they're literally doing it. So is that social commentary baked into the premise from the beginning, or did that emerge as you wrote the book and the characters started to breathe and do their own things?
No, this was there since the beginning because when I have an idea for a story, I always ask myself, why the hell am I going to tell this story? I mean, it's just to entertain the reader, or there is something else that I can talk about in this story. And as I said, crime fiction thrillers, we talk about crime, we talk about society, we talk about human being. I mean, morality. So we discuss many. We can discuss really important stuff. For me, in your book, in The Perfect Marriage, you discuss relationship. You discuss, right. I mean, so we talk about real stuff that connects with people. So. So I started to think, okay, so if I'm telling this story about this group of friends hosting secret dinners for the high society, and who is paying for this dinner? Who wants to have this VIP experience? And who is being served? Who they are going to kill to be served to serve in the dinner, right? So and then I saw that I could talk about rich eating poor people, and more than that, I noticed that, for example, food is power. That's the thing. I mean, so we eat pork, cow, fish because we are superiors in the food chain, right? That's why we eat and we don't say, "Oh, I did that." No. Okay. So, and I think that nowadays there are some kind of people that they think they are like a superior race than other human beings, right? They are not like the same, so they could eat if the person is like poor or black or gay, or I mean. So then I found like a good discussion to have in the book. But as I said, my first goal is to be like entertaining, and then find good discussions to have in the story.
Yeah, which I think this book has a lot of social commentary there. Uh, I find it also interesting that, this book released 10 years ago for you. And I've had a book that, that books that have reached new readers and it's like been years ago and then I'm talking about it again. So how has that experience been for you? And do you feel like The Secret Dinner is like still your book, or does it feel like it was like written by another version of yourself?
Well, one thing that's amazing about writing novels is that books are like pictures you take of a specific time of you, right? I mean, so of course I'm a new Raphael now than I was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting, for example, to see how Dante is ambitious and he wants to prove himself. And in a way, that was me trying to be a crime writer in Brazil. I mean, in Brazil, honestly, we don't have that many writers that can like survive as writers. Usually, people have like other jobs and they write novels too. So that time I was like, and I studied law. And my parents, of course, they wanted me to be a lawyer, a judge, and not a writer because I mean, it's interesting because in that moment of my life, as I said, I'm 35 now, so I was 25, 24, 23 when I wrote the book. So this ambition that is pretty strong in Dante, I had this ambition. And nowadays, of course I have ambition, but not that much because I live I mean, I have my readers. I love the stories I tell. I love to tell stories. I work with what I love. So, I mean, but that moment, no, I was trying to get there. So yeah, so that's one thing. And the other thing is, it's interesting because after I finished to write a book, I read many times, of course, with the editor and all that. But when it's published, I never read it again because it's a nightmare because I want to change everything, of course. So I published The Secret Dinner many years ago, and then I never read the book after it was published. So I only know about it because what the readers tells me, right? And so, but to publish here, the translator is Zoe Perry, but I worked pretty close to her because for me, it was important to find the voice of Dante in English.
Mhm.
So, and of course, I worked pretty close with Ryan Doherty, my editor at Celadon. So it was interesting to, again, work on this text and in this material and um, dive in this story again 10 years later. So it was interesting that too.
So this, speaking of the translation, so the book is distinctly Brazilian. Was there any pressure to change, explain, or Americanize anything for the US edition?
No, the opposite. I mean, all the elements. For example, of course, Brazil is a huge country. So the story is set in Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana, where I live. So, and I mentioned some restaurants and some places. There is one restaurant that there is a great scene there. That's a scene where Dante hires Cora in the beginning of the book. They go to a restaurant that really exists in Copacabana, and the owner is a friend of mine. And many readers from around Brazil, when they travel to Rio, they get their book and they go there in front of the restaurant to take a picture. So I love the idea of when you're reading a book, you are traveling to that place in a way, right? You are visiting this place. Um, so no, I mean Ryan was pretty no. Let's skip all the references, and I'm sure the American audience can understand that. And of course, be interested. So, for example, there are some songs that I mentioned. They are my favorite songs, Brazilian songs. So go to Spotify and listen to them because they are great songs. Um, I always think it's amazing to keep it real in a way. And for me, the best stories are the ones that they are really specific. So they are set in a place and you feel this place, you feel this culture, but also they are universal because in the end, The Secret Dinner is about ambition, is about hunger, it's about um, social inequity. So I mean, it's about really universal themes, but set in Brazil.
You mentioned the songs that you put in there and the restaurant. Is there anything else about Brazilian culture that you're excited for American readers to discover about it?
Well, honestly, it's something that I don't think when I write. I mean, I don't say, oh, I need to 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 put some Brazilian culture here. It goes naturally. So, I mean, there are some mention from Carnival. That's an amazing party that we do, and it's really a great vibe. So I invite everyone to visit Brazil, and if possible during Carnival because it's really really nice. And then maybe have a secret dinner in Copacabana. If you want, just send me a message on Instagram. I will give all the details.
So, as I said, you have enormous career in Brazil. You have 8 novels, television, screenwriting. So, let's say everyone watching reads The Secret Dinner and they love it and they immediately want more. Where should they go next?
Well, I think Celadon is a great publishing house. So I'm really happy with all the team. They are doing a great job. They're really excited with the book. So we are planning to publish at least one more book next year. So if you like The Secret Dinner, first spread the word. In Brazil, I say that I have missionaries. My readers, they put the book under their arm. They go knocking doors. Have you ever read like Raphael Montes? They use t-shirts like written by Raphael Montes, so I love that. And so uh, hopefully there will be a book next year, and then I hope much more. I mean, in Portuguese, I have 8 novels, and they are all successful in Brazil. So it's something, of course, I would love. But I do a lot of TV and cinema too. I did the first Brazilian crime series for Netflix. It's called Good Morning Veronica. It was a 3 season show, and
It's
I
available
everyone.
on US
Is
Netflix,
a
right?
Yeah, it's available in US Netflix. So everyone is invited. It's that one's pretty dark. It's like I remember when they asked me to create a crime show for them on Netflix. I said, okay, I'm going to do the Brazilian True Detective. So I wanted to with Brazilian culture, but really dark. So it's called Good Morning Veronica. Uh, I also did a movie that released 3 weeks ago for Netflix and was in top 10 around the world in 90 countries, including United States. I don't think it's the top 10 now, but like 2 weeks ago it was.
Well, tell us
And it
what it is, and then maybe it'll be top 10 again.
so yeah. And the movie is called Elise, Shadows of a Woman. And it's based on a true crime, a big famous true crime that happened in Brazil. Um, and and well, I did this, and you can watch on Netflix. And I also did a show for HBO called Scars of Beauty. That was the biggest show on HBO Latin America. You can also watch in English, dubbed or with subtitles. And it's a 40 episode show. And Scars of Beauty, if you like The Secret Dinner, I really think you like Scars of Beauty, because Scars of Beauty also balance suspense thriller with some comedy and crazy decisions and really fun characters. So there's the same vibe, I think.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do a secret dinner speed round. Are you ready? And then
Yeah.
I'm going to do Q&As from people that have submitted questions. If you want to submit a question you didn't previously, you can put it in the chat or in the Q&A window, and we will see if we get to it. But we're going to do a speed round. So, would you
Okay.
attend one of the secret dinners if you didn't know what or who was being served?
Only with you.
Only with me. What if you could pick who was being served? Would you go? Meaning, would you be your enemy?
Can I pick who's being served? Elon
Yes,
Musk.
in that one, you can pick who's being served. I think I would. I have a few people I would eat. So,
Okay.
um,
I think
you would?
Elon Musk. I would. Elon Musk is a
Like your
person that I
main
would.
enemies.
Yeah.
That one's fine. Like, um, what is scarier to you in real life than anything you've ever written? Like, what are you most scared of? Since you're
um.
terrifying about.
Well, let me tell you. I'm really as scared. I mean, I'm afraid of everything because I always think the worst things can happen, right?
Mm.
So I'm really afraid all the time. I don't go to roller coasters and stuff like that. But well, honestly, for me, I'm most afraid of how violence is inside us all. I don't think that sometimes people that commit crimes, they are like psychopaths. Of course, they are exist psychopaths, but generally people commit crimes for a bad decision. One moment, like they are fighting, and then they do a bad decision. They kill someone. I mean, so this violence inside us all is something that concerns me a lot.
That is really terrifying because you like think you know someone, but you really don't. You
Yeah.
never really do. So it's terrifying. Since you write such disturbing books, what is the most disturbing book you've ever read? Like, what's your barometer for most disturbing?
Okay, I think it was a Chuck Palahniuk book.
Mm,
Okay, I don't remember the name in English. Well, I love Fight Club. There is this one about this porn actress. Do you know this one?
I don't know. I think I know what the Chuck one you're thinking of because my husband was going through a list of the most disturbing books and reading them all at one point, and I remember him having one as a part of that list.
Let me check here. The title is
Some,
Nuff.
someone says snuff?
Is Nuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love I love that book, but it's pretty disturbing.
Disturbing. Is there a Brazilian thriller other than your own that you think every American should read?
Oh yes, many. I mean, we have one big writer. He already died, 90 years old. I mean, but he wrote many books, and they are published here in the United States. He's called Ruben Fonseca. Ruben, Rubem Fonseca. It's amazing. All his books are great. And also there is another writer. She's called Patricia Mello. she's amazing. I also recommend her books.
Or do you know if those are translated or no?
Sorry?
Do you know if those are translated into English or no?
Yeah, they are translated in English. Yeah, I'm just saying writers that are published here.
Okay.
So I'm sure. Yeah,
So you,
I can see the titles she has here published. Yeah, my favorite one is The Killer. It's published here,
okay.
but also she just published one called The Simple Art of Killing a Woman.
That's a great title.
Yeah, and she's
Since
a
the
great writer.
secret dinner has to do with food, obviously, the humankind, what is your favorite Brazilian food that you think Americans need to try?
Well, I mentioned one in the book that's churrasco, and they have like chicken heart. That's really good. And but I think my favorite Brazilian food is feijoada. That's like beans with a lot of meat. So
Mm.
including human meat. No, kidding. No.
Sounds delicious.
It's delicious. It's
Um,
delicious feijoada. When
I
you go to Brazil, Geneva, I have to tell you, they have lot of readers in Brazil. You should go to
I
Brazil.
was invited to Brazil by my Brazilian publisher, but I was 8 months pregnant, so I could not go. I could not fly internationally.
Okay.
But next time,
But so yeah, but just send them a message. Me and Rafa, we are going to do a panel in Brazil in the big book fair, and then
okay.
I'll go with you for a feijoada.
When is the book fair?
Generally like September, October.
Oh, it's probably pretty late for an invite. Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so
Next year,
yes,
next year is
next
in
year.
Rio. Next year
Oh,
is in Rio. Yeah, because it's 1 year in Rio and 1 year in São Paulo. So
I'm
this
writing
year
this
is in
down.
São Paulo. Next year is in Rio, and it's going to be amazing. So let's
Okay.
do it.
I will. I'm glad that. One thing I loved was like all of the little things throughout where it was like one time I read a sign in a restroom and blah blah. I loved all those little quotes, but I think
Uh
some of
huh.
them were kind of like almost warnings, the way that they were written, obviously. But if the secret dinner came with a warning label, what would it say?
Warning label: don't read while eating. Eating.
I would agree with that
I
one.
think. Yeah.
Um, there,
um,
there is a price list in this book for human organs and body parts. Did you actually do research on black market prices? Is it accurate? Just wondering in case, I need
so
advice.
about research, of course, I needed to do a lot of research. I
Mhm.
needed to try human flesh. No, I didn't.
Oh,
no, I did. Uh, no, I did a lot of research. Yes. And for example, I read some what about the taste of the human flesh. There were like some material about cannibals and what they said about the taste. This list of human organs, it's also really funny because my Brazilian readers, the younger ones, say, "Oh my God, I'm going to sell my lungs because it's I need money." So,
it's
uh,
$1,300 or whatever it was.
yeah, no, but about the prices, I just created them. I mean, uh, and if someone comes to me to correct, oh, it's wrong, that's not the price, I'll say, okay, you are arrested, I'm calling the police right now, because how the hell you can know the price of this, right? So I just imagine that it's not real at all.
Okay. Okay. The last question of the speed round, and then I'm going to turn it over to or start asking some of the questions that were submitted was I want you to convince everyone watching to read The Secret Dinner in one sentence.
In one sentence.
One sentence, that's it.
Okay, you do this better than me. Go.
I would just be like, just
you
read it. You're already on the call here. Read it, and you're probably going to get the book. So I think
Yeah,
you're getting a signed book plate. Obviously, you have the book, so you should read it.
yeah, it's like the menu meets Fight Club meets Tender is the Flash.
Yeah. Oh, I love actually that was one of the ones that it kind of reminded me of was the tender of the flesh with the
Yeah,
descriptions, which I really liked.
yeah.
So some of the audience ones, if anyone wants to drop any more, if we have time, but some of these you did cover, so I'm not going to ask all of them. If you did ask a question, it's not in here, it's because it's already been answered. What was the most fun part of writing The Secret Dinner? That comes from Bianca, and she
Okay.
says she's a big fan with a heart.
Oh, thank you, Bianca. And so the most fun part was, well, Also, as I said, the book is narrated by Dante in first person, but I also include different stuff during the book. So there is a drawing, there is this list that you said about the price of organs, and there is one chapter that I decided to do a WhatsApp group chat. So, and it's a scene where they need to get a corpse from a public hospital. So I decided, instead of like narrating regularly, they doing this, I decided to create this WhatsApp group. And to do that, what I did, I invited 3 friends, I opened a wine, and I created a WhatsApp group, and I said, okay, let's pretend we are going to a public hospital to get a dead body. so so we started chatting. For real. And then I said, okay, you are going to do this. You is this character. You are this character. You are this character. You are this character. I'm Dante. So let's go. And then we started to do this. So it was pretty fun to do this with my friends. And then, of course, it was not ready to put in the book. But from there, I got the sensation and how it would be good to write this chapter. And that's also a famous moment of the book. Readers love it. And I had a lot of fun doing this.
That's a really smart way to like also come up with just text dialogue of how friends would naturally talk about that. Because that's a lot. The one thing too about like you having a larger cast of like several friends, 4 friends together, the fact that you were able to differentiate them so well. And I love that little exercise. I might use that in the future.
Yeah.
Make
And
more
also,
friends my writing for me.
one thing that people love are the memes. There are memes during this conversation.
Yes.
And we Brazilians, we love memes. So
Was there anything with memes that like, did you have to get permission or are those like open?
no, I created this one.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
That's my favorite ones.
all the memes in the book I had to create because I can't.
Take all of
I
that. Okay.
mean, yeah.
That's amazing. So actually, this one, I already know that you said your favorite character that you created was Cora, correct? So
Yeah.
Rachel wants to know why.
Okay, Cora. Well, because Cora is the character that is most like me. She is totally crazy. She has crazy opinions, and and so it's pretty easy to write her. It was always fun when she was on the scene. It was like, okay, I know how she would deal with this situation. So when everyone, all the friends, they're like struggling to, oh my god, what we do with this body? Should we do the dinner or not? She's like, I know what to do. Go there, boys. I'm the smartest one. I know what I'm doing. So uh, she's really my favorite character. I mean, she's in a way she's the soul of the book, like in the tone of the story. That
Mhm.
she represents the tone of the book, right? In a way.
Yeah. You already kind of talked
What's your favorite character
from the book.
on the book? Yeah.
I would I would probably say Cora, but I would say someone else who's bad, but I feel like I'm spoiling it because I already said who's bad, so then I should not say.
Okay.
I come sometimes like the evil characters that are really, that
The
just
best ones. They're the best
yeah, that
ones.
just do some things that maybe, that you
Yeah.
should do. That's why like in a lot of my books too, where people ask me who my favorite characters are, I can't say because then I give away who.
Who's the bad one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about your writing process and how you plot and everything. But Aaron wants to know how long did it take you to write The Secret Dinner? So how long does that process take? And is your writing time around the same each novel where it takes you around the same amount of time, or was this one different?
Usually it takes like 2 or 3 years to write a novel, because I also work for TV. So now, for example, I'm writing the second season of Scars of Beauty. I'm writing a movie and my next novel. So that's why I have like to balance all that. So it takes me like 2 3 years. And I don't know you, but in my case, I always have a kind of writer's block in the middle of the book. So that was the case with The Secret Dinner. I started writing the story with uh, my first idea was that the book would be narrated by the 4 friends. So there were chapters narrated by Dante, other by Miguel, other by Piglet, other. I mean, So it was like a mix. So I wrote, I don't know, 100 pages like that. And then I said, oh my God, that's a mess. So
Mhm.
I came back to the beginning, and then I decided to do like Dante as the main narrator. Of course, you have other kinds of telling, let's say, as the WhatsApp group, as I said, and there is a drawing, many other stuff, poems also, but and then I found that Dante would be the main narrator, and then I start to write again, and in the middle I had like a writer's block. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if it's working. So I didn't write the book. I stopped writing it for like 5 months, and then I came back to it and finished it. And but all the books I have that. So nowadays, when this happens, I say, okay, I'm sure I'm going to
That's just your
survive.
process. Yes, it's
Yeah,
your
it's just my
process.
process. Yeah, I don't suffer anymore.
That's similar to like how I am, where I'm like, right. Usually when it's writer's block for me, I know it's a point of view issue. And that's kind of what you said, that you have to go back and you have to fix the point of view. It's always that I don't have the right point of view. I have too many point of views. I need more point of views. And that's usually where I'm like, yep.
Well, I always think that's the hardest decision we need to make. I
Hmm.
mean, you create a good plot, you have great characters, but how the hell are you going to tell this story? I
Yeah.
mean, it's in first person, third person, many characters, point of views. I mean, that's a really hard decision to make because that defines the book, right?
Hmm.
So, so it's I already had that in another novel that I wrote called Perfect Days. That I wrote all the novel in first person, and then in the end I said, okay, it might be wrong, so I need to I I I need to rewrite the book in third person.
Yeah. That's always the worst when you're like, oh my God, I have the wrong point of view. I got to go back and fix this. What was the hardest scene for you to write then
The hardest,
in this story? I know there were scenes, you talked about scenes you were really excited to write. So I assume those made it
yeah,
easier since you were thinking about that.
yeah,
What was
yeah.
the hardest scene to write?
I think the hardest scene was the dialogue just after they offered the dinner online, and
Hmm.
they discovered that 10 people paid for the dinner, they received the money. And there is a dialogue where they are all the four friends in the apartment discussing if they should do the dinner or not. Because it was really hard to find a way that the readers was really important for me that the readers follow the character. I mean, they agree with their decisions, and so they one argue, oh, let's do it, and the other say, no, we can't do it. So this dialogue to make them finally decide to do the dinners was kind of hard
Yeah, that
to
feels like
yeah, to sound reasonable, right? I
yeah.
mean, that was yeah,
That's always like, yeah, figuring out where everyone's reasoning behind it and trying to make it so it makes sense and it's a real conversation that seems natural. Um,
yeah.
I could see that. Allison wants to know, did the story change from its original idea?
Well, I'm sure you're going to agree with me too. I mean, there are ideas that we have that we write, and in the end, we say, "Oh my God, my ideas was much better, and the book's not that good." There are ideas that we have, and then when we write, we say, "Oh my God, it's much better." So the result's much better. And the Secret Dinner is one of these cases. I mean, I love this idea, and I decided to write the novel. But in the end, I think the book is much better. The results much better than I thought, because when I imagined it, it was only dark, and when I wrote it, I found this balance between being dark and having a dark humor, also some fun parts. So yeah, I think this one, the idea was much more like only a dark story about cannibalism and secret dinners. And then when I wrote it, I created more like a fun book.
Mhm.
And I really think that's a book in a way for everyone. I mean, you don't need to be a thriller or horror reader. At least in Brazil, as I said, many readers that they don't read crime fiction, thriller, they are kind of afraid. They read The Secret Dinner and love it. So I think this result is part of that.
Yeah, I think the added humor makes that's what makes the story so dynamic. And a little bit more relatable despite what they're doing in the novel. So that's really interesting. But Katie wants to know, what did you learn about yourself after writing this novel? And I don't know if you
Or
remember if it was a decade ago, or
yeah, I don't know if I remember or learned about myself.
what are you learning
Well,
about yourself now that you're seeing it in a new
no,
market?
no, there is one thing. The Secret Dinner was my third novel in Brazil. So the second novel was it's called Perfect Days. It's published in English too. Um, and this novel was also pretty successful when it was published. I was 23 years old, and then I did this Perfect Days. And then I remember that I pitched it to my publisher, the idea for the Secret Dinner. And then my editor, and then he said to me, Rafa, I don't know. I mean, because the Secret Dinner is really a psychological suspense with no like big polemic subject. And then he said, Rafa, I don't think you are starting to establish your career. I don't think you should do a book about cannibalism, too much crazy, because might be not good for you or
Mhm.
for your career. But well, I wanted to do the book a bit. The idea was with me when I was like sleeping. I was always thinking and dreaming with these characters and this story. So I said, okay, I'm going to write it, even if the publisher and the editor say don't do it. So I did, and and when the book was just published, uh, it went pretty well. And so I think what I learned is you need to trust your guts. You need to trust what you think you should do. I mean, and even nowadays, I mean, since I have readers in Brazil, you, Geneva, probably have a lot of pressure from readers too. I mean, about the next book and what's next, what's next. And it's really important to connect with yourself and say, okay, I know there is a lot of pressure and people wanting stuff from you, but what I want, what's my, because that's really important. That's the most important thing, right? To write
I
what you believe.
Yeah, I think if you're not passionate about it, I think that's going to come through. And I always say, don't write for the market. And this is very clear you did not write for the market, which is great. And that's why, readers are loving it because it's not to the market, it's something different and new. So yeah, I completely agree. Follow your gut and your passion and trust it. And don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Carla wants to know, what is your favorite thriller? I know you mentioned some other books you'd like. Are any of those your favorite, or do you have a favorite?
Um, I think my favorite thriller. Well, of course, I will say. I'll say some classics. So I love "And Then There Were None" by Agatha Christie. It's a crime story. It's not a thriller. I love "The Talented Mr. Ripley." I love Rosemary's Baby. I think Rosemary's Baby is the perfect thriller. So that might be my answer. Rosemary's Baby. I love a book called The Perfect Marriage. I don't know if you know that one.
Never heard of it.
No, yeah. The writer, but the books. I love Gone Girl, of course.
Yes,
I love, um, well, I love Lisa Jewell's books, all of them.
I'm a big fan of her.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to pull one of these because this is a great question from Mallory in the Q&A. When writing this book or after writing this book, did it change the way you thought about eating meat? And did it make you consider becoming a vegetarian?
great question. Yes. Part of the idea also came from the fact that I was thinking about becoming a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian, but I was interested in understanding a bit more how the meat that we eat arrives in our table. So, and then I started to do like researches. And this book is in Brazil, many vegetarian book clubs and vegetarian community, they love this book because in a way it talks about that, right? So yes, I was thinking about becoming a vegetarian, but the thing is, I love meat. So for me, it's pretty hard.
I
It's terrible to admit, but I love meat.
I was a vegetarian for 9 months after watching a really horrible PETA video. And then the first thing I ate
Uh-huh.
for 9 months was like cold hamburger meat. So I was just not built for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I did feel
but
very
I
healthy
tried.
for 9 months, but
I
I
I
like
tried.
burgers.
I tried. Yeah, I,
Um,
I love burger.
Yes. And okay, so Kimberly asks, I don't know if you can share if there is anything like this. Will this be a movie? And if there's nothing there you can't share, who would you want to see cast if it could become a movie as the four main characters? And they didn't ask that, I added on because I'm always, and if you haven't thought about it, it's fine. People always ask me that, and sometimes I don't think about it.
Okay. So I mean, my Brazilian readers ask me every day this. That's the two questions I receive every day in my Instagram. What's the next book? When's the next book? And when's going to be a movie adaptation or a series adaptation for The Secret Dinner? So we are still trying to understand where it's going to happen, but I'm sure it's going to happen. I don't know. It's not this year or next year, but one day I'm sure it's going to happen. I really want that too. So, but I honestly can't say anything more than that because
Do you
there
have
is
any
nothing
dream
announced.
cast for the characters?
Yeah, my drink. Honestly, I have a drink cast, but they are all Brazilian actors because I thought of that for a Brazilian version. But now I should think for an American version, right? A
Yeah,
Hollywood
you
version.
got a
Why
dream
not?
cast.
Yeah. So who should be? You help me. Um, Cora is Zendaya.
Zendaya. I always, I don't know, for strong female leads, I always say Samara Weaving, and it's because I want to meet her so
uh-huh.
bad. She's like the ultimate, like scream queen, amazing thriller. She was in like Ready or Not 2, A New
uh-huh.
Mexico. I love her. So I always say
For
her.
Dante, for Dante, you have an idea?
I'm really bad with names.
I'm terrible too. So Victor Hugo, maybe Victor Hugo could be like Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, there you go. He's in everything.
Yes, he's in everything. Yeah. Who
It's so
else?
hard because then it's like there's also
Yeah,
like
it's really.
so many like because there's the movie Obsession that just blew up everywhere. Those are all unknown actors and they were phenomenal. So then it's always like
Yeah,
an unknown is better.
yeah. Well, let's think about the cast later. I confess I'm terrible doing that.
Okay, so I'm going to do the last question. What is the next book that's going to be translated to English? Can you share that with people? And when will it hit the market, or do you know?
So yeah, after I'm here in New York right now because the book was just published,
Mhm.
and after here I'm going back to Brazil because I'm going to publish my new novel in Brazil. That's going to be on bookstores September 1st. Yeah, and so
The schedule for you, my God.
yeah, crazy schedule. Yeah, yeah. And so I go directly to the book fair from here to the book fair, and the book's called The Stranger in My Bed, and it's a erotic thriller, and and the story is basically a couple that they are married for like 15 years. They don't have like the marriage is not that good anymore. So the husband convinces the wife to open the relationship only for one night to spice the things up. So he goes to a nap
For
and
for relationships.
sorry,
I said it's like the
what's
perfect for relationships.
yeah. So they go to an app and they invite a woman, a stranger, and she's younger and pretty beautiful. And the book starts when she arrives in the apartment. They start to have like wine and to chat and they relax, and then they start to do this menage. And then the stranger says, I like some kinky, dark stuff, different stuff. So I brought here some toys. We can play with them. And I also love asphyxiation. So she asked to be asphyxiated by the wife. And the wife is like, I don't think I should do this. But she insists. She say, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. So she goes there and does it. And the woman dies in the bed.
I was gonna guess. I was
Uh,
like, she accidentally died.
yeah, she accidentally died in the bed. And then, but they are like a high society couple. I mean, he's a famous lawyer. They are pretty well known, so they can't call the police and say, I was doing a menage here and
Yeah.
this woman died. So I mean, it's going to be published in September in Brazil,
Is that
and
to the US? Because that is a
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah, and next year in the US.
Okay. That's
The
interesting.
Stranger in My Bed.
Stranger in My Bed. Great title.
Yeah.
Great plot setup. All right, so I want to thank everyone for being here. And I also, they told me to remind you that if you bought a ticket that included the secret dinner with, you'll get your signed book play in 8 to 10 business days. And then I'm supposed to remind you that there are extra copies of The Secret of Dinner available on barnesandnoble.com and at your local BNN store. So go pick it up. Do it.
Let's take a print screen. How we do this? I don't know. I'm terrible. Do you know how to do this?
Maybe Harry can do it. I don't know. Let me see.
Can someone does do this? I'm
To
terrible.
like use my keyboard to do it. I can't use my keyboard and take it.
Let me do like that. I'll take a picture from here.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
And Geneva was amazing. Thanks for
Of
our
course.
conversation. I want to meet you in a bar as soon as possible. I want you to go to Brazil.
I will be there. I'm
Uh,
my publisher.
okay.
Oh, Harry
Yeah.
gave the pictures.
Okay.
They're in the chat.
Uh, and thanks, Barnes and Noble, also for inviting me to this event. I'm really excited to have this book now coming to traumatize the American readers. So please let me know. I'm in all social media, Instagram, TikTok. I would love to know your opinion. And if you like it, please spread the word, recommend to your friends. And
Yeah, spread
that's
the
it. Thanks
word,
a
leave
lot.
5-star reviews, buy the book, and read it. There you
Ye-
go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so
Thanks.
much. And thank you, Raphael. And congratulations on the secret dinner hitting American stores. Hooray.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm anxious to read your new book. I just
We'll
saw you.
switch. I'm gonna give you Dead Girl Summer, and you're gonna give me Stranger in My Bed.
Deal. We have
Deal.
a deal.
All right.
Bye
Thank
bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.